What's going on, everybody? Not here. And I normally don't like to look at booster boxes more than every 10 to 14 days, but I want to go through it because there's so much doom and gloom in the market. There's so many people talking about how Destin Rivals pre-orders are, taking another leg lower. By the way, they're still $300 a box, which is probably the highest it's been since probably COVID bubble, maybe even before that. Um, people talking about how the new Prismatic Evolutions volume is for the ETBs is going to cause, tanking and worlds are going to collide and MSRP is going to become, the new thing. It's all incompetence. So I want to go through this and I want to talk about some of the things that are going on when we go through this. So first of all, let's walk through the booster boxes. As we can see here, SV base, I'm not going to go into quantities and stuff like that because I got a little lazy on this one. Still not feeling up to 100%. And quite honestly, it's not super relevant. But I think when we look at SV base, Paldea Evolved, Obsidian Flames, Paradox Rift, and probably Temporal, and 151, it's its own animal, but it fits into this bundle. These are sets that are probably not going to get 151 is going to get reprinted until the window next April. But the rest of the sets may not. And even if they do, it's going to be super interesting because, these four sets, I rolled Temporal in there because it's kind of along for the ride, even though it's technically not part of SV 1 through 4 in the cycle through. But these are four sets that were just released into dead time. Now, SV base had a little bit going on when it first came out and then it fell off a cliff. But the rest four sets were just absolute dead. And it, the absolute bottom of the demand and the trough of the bear cycle here. In addition, having the bulk of the time they've been out in that bear cycle up until recently, obviously, all of a sudden they're big rip and ship targets. So it's going to be super interesting to see if these four sets end up being turbocharged going into the future because of lesser supply, because of everything I just mentioned, much higher demand, rip and ship, and then just the fact that there's just not that much out there. So I realize I said low supply twice, but I have a hard time believing that these boxes aren't all around $300 by the end of the year. Barring any kind of significant reprint, just because the sets are good and there's just not that much out there. So SV base, still kind of teetering right around that 200 mark. Paldea Evolved at 245. There's some lower price boxes from some rando sellers. I don't really count those. Obsidian Flame at 218, continues to creep up a little bit, which is what it is. Paradox Rift sitting at 200, but I do want to mention with Paradox Rift, it is probably the most thinly supplied right around the market price, meaning it's not going to take a whole lot of sales to push this to 225, which is probably where it belongs. And if we look at the sales per day, 5 boxes, 6 or 7, 6, 7. I mean, these are all healthy sell-through. Figure eBay's probably selling through 3 to 4 times this, and then you have all the other sales. Then ripping ships out the ass. I mean, the stuff's moving. Paldea's up $5, Obsidian 5, Paradox flat. Temporal is down $2, but I mean, it depends on who lists day to day, so it's basically flat. Twilight's up. This is fully recovered to its all-time high, or within $1 of that since a reprint. And again, selling nine boxes a day. Healthy sales. Temporal is even at 5. Stellar's at 5. It's slowed down a little bit, but it's still $202, which in my view it's a little toppy. But again, this is one of those sets that probably isn't going to get a reprint, and if it does, it's not going to be huge. Surging at 255. This has been dead money for 5 months now. 13 sales per day. And then we get the Journey. Journey's at 213. It was 212 a couple weeks ago, 215, 213. So it seems like it's found its bottom here, and you have a lot of inventory, which is what always happens here. 2,385 boxes. This is not the same supply demand dynamic that we saw with Surging Sparks. it's kind of inverted, but the boxes aren't going to go to zero. The boxes are going to sit where they're going to sit because nobody's going to undercut each other in price. I mean, most of the scalpers are out of the game because the price isn't at the point where they can make any money. So, they've either dumped on Facebook or, they've ripped them themselves, but still selling 91 day in the last 30 days, which is healthy. So, I want to move to the ETBs because here's where it gets interesting. So 151 took a little bit of a breather, and now it's back up at 221. So I think 225-ish is the all-time high. 6 selling a day. I think everybody's starting to get a little antsy here. I know we have a ton of poster collections that just hit. We actually ran a sale on them tonight at $27 per if you bought 4 cases on a non-TCG. So if you're interested, feel free to hit the sale. The link is in the description. Actually, I think the price is a little bit more because that was for Discord only. So it might be 28 or 29 bucks, but either way, I don't know where you're going to get a significant amount of volume of products at this point, especially in sealed cases. But either way, Paldean Fates, all-time high, 140. They're down to 69 available. These are they all got ripped. They're not out there. Shrouded Fable still 57.50, 7 selling a day. 228. Again, there's another 300 from Trading Card World in here. I'm just trying to normalize it a little bit. Prismatic Evolutions. Here's where it's super, super fucking interesting. So we're down at 129. And, Danny Phantom came out. It was probably a month ago now and said, the second coming of Jesus Christ is coming and bringing 70 billion Prismatic Evolutions ETBs, and we're all going to bathe in the glory of fucking MSRP. So I guess he didn't learn his lesson from the last reprint, where everybody from distribution increases the price, and that price happens to be above MSRP. So he's probably been in this long enough to know better. We all make mistakes. So I want to walk through the different deals out there for distributors, since I've seen them all now. So there is one distributor who is willing to sell them for original distribution price. Extremely limited. Case, 2 cases, whatever. They're fantastic. Great guys. Love them. Another distributor who's willing to sell it original distributor price. However, for every $1 that you pay, and original distribution, I can't even talk, distribution price was $30. You have to buy $60 of open product. And that product doesn't count matched together. So you buy it, you get your profit, and then you have to hope to God that the other stuff that you buy doesn't take your profit away. It's an okay deal. Again, I love all these guys. My account reps are all phenomenal. One group who offered a bundle, and the implied price, it was $95 per ETB. And just assume every one of these is by the case. So, handful of cases here, handful of cases there. So now my base is at $95. So $95 to $129. I mean, I sell for $129 on TCG Player. I'm giving $15 back plus another $15 to ship. I mean, that's $100 if I'm paying $95. Why would I ever do that? That creates an artificial floor where the price is not going to go any lower because everybody's base is higher than that. I have a distributor who was at 65. Phenomenal. I said, hell yeah, dude. You guys are great. And then I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3 who are like $90, $95 or $900 to $950. So as you can see, outside of the one outlier, which is again extremely limited, and again, I look at it as my cost from each one of my distributors is what it is, but I look at my blended cost. That's why I've diversified across distributors. You look at your blended cost, and my blended cost per ETB is probably somewhere in the $60 to $70 range. Now, I don't look at it and say, well, I paid $95 for that, so I can't sell that for $130. I don't look at that and say, well, I only paid $30 for that, so I could sell it for $7 and be happy. You look at it as an average. It's effectively the average cost inventory methodology for those of you who know a little bit about that. But yes, there is a decent amount of inventory that's come, um, but it's being gate kept, and quite honestly, it's a positive because it's being gate kept by the stores that have no business being in the Pokemon space selling the product. Because now it's like, oh, I don't get free money, and I have to buy other shit that I have to move that you know isn't sexy. Now I have to think twice about it. Or wait a minute, so I can sell it for 120, but I got to pay 95, and I pay taxes and shit like that. I'm gonna think about it a second time. So there's an artificial floor created because distribution's able to increase their pricing. Now, do I wish everybody charged me $30 and I got 2,000 boxes? Yeah, but guess what? They wouldn't be selling for 120. They'd be selling for $40 per ETB or $50 per ETB. So it's kind of the world that we live in. But, all these YouTube thumbnails are like, the reprints here, MSRP, fuck yeah. And it's like, guys, distribution's not selling for MSRP. So you're not going to be able to buy for MSRP. Like, remove your head from your two hole because it ain't going to happen. And it's like, I don't know if these guys just live in an echo chamber or if they just are literally talking out of their ass because they have no idea what's going on. So that being said, we saw Prismatic go from 138 to 129, and it's going to sit here, and it's going to sit here, and it's going to sit here. And as long as those packs are selling for 100 or for $13 to $14 a pack, this is where it's going to stay because you have the sealed premium, which is 10 or 20 bucks. You have the promo, which last time I checked was somewhere between $7 and $10. I don't even know what it was in 10, 100, 120, whatever. It's probably less now. But there's no reason to open the product unless you need cash flow. And most stores are relatively healthy because everything that they've touched in the last 9 months has gone up. So, you can't lose money short selling product because that's not a thing in this fucking industry. So anyway, guys, just want to walk through this. And then, one last thing, Destin Rivals pre-orders. This is just the ETB. It's down to 135. Now, I'm guessing the ETBs at release are going to be somewhere between 110 and 125. The boxes are at 299 now. We'll see what happens. I mean, I'm guessing the boxes they're going to be firmly over 250. And quite honestly, they should be over 300 based on the value of the cards in the set. And, the other thing it's just asinine, or people talk about, well, it should be MSRP. If you showed me evidence that the Pokemon Company made every effort to have the value of the cards in each box commensurate with what MSRP should be, then I'd be, yeah, absolutely, MSRP. Otherwise, MSRP is a bullshit made-up number. Like, it's not real. Like, just stop. There's no price controls in this country. It doesn't mean shit because the price of the box is going to trade based on the value of the cards in the box. That's the way capitalism works. So just stop it. Like, you guys sound stupid. Anyway, that's the end of my rant for tonight. Again, still not feeling great, so I'm a little cranky. That's just, you see so many thumbnails and you hear just a bunch of idiotic comments, and it's just like, come on. Like, be a grown up. You've been in this industry long enough. You guys should all know how this works. It's nobody's fault. If there's, call it $100 of profit on an ETB based on what distribution pays and what the end consumer pays, that's going to get chopped up. And ultimately, the store is not going to have any control over what their slice is. You just genuflect, kiss the ring, and be thankful for what you get. And that's the way it is. So anyway, guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel, join the Discord. Like I said, we got a sale going on right now. It is 151 poster collection cases. And I also have a bundle of 4 cases that's a little discounted because, 4 of them, it's 11 by 10 by 8, and it comes out to right around 20 pounds, which is right in the sweet spot to ship. And I think, like I said, I think the price is between 28 and 29 per poster collection. And, it's going to be tough to accumulate anything else over time unless they come out with, more bundles. But the bundles, again, even on Target today, they're selling for $11 a pack. So anyway, guys, have a good whatever day it is. Is it Tuesday? Is it Wednesday? I don't even know what day it is. Wednesday, and we'll We'll see you tomorrow.